Shalom Tomaday of Yeshua our Messiah. Happy closing of the holy appointments. Have all these days been very edifying? We would like to continue celebrating and learning, right? We are reaching the last holy appointment called Shemini Atzeret, which means 8th Day of Convocation, and the Eternal has just added one more day of celebration after the 7 days of Sukkot.
That's right, little friends. This day is only called the 8th Day of Convocation because it is the 8th day after the 7 days of Sukkot, although in the Hebrew calendar, it is the 22nd day of the 7th month.
The commandment says in Leviticus chapter 23, verse 39, "But on the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered the fruit of the earth, you will celebrate the Eternal for 7 days. The first day will be a Shabbat, and the 8th day will also be a Shabbat." In the Torah, we read that it is part of the 7-day Sukkot festivity, and it is the 8th day after 7. We read that it is a solemn Shabbat or holy convocation. The 8th day appears several times in the Bible. That day Aaron and his sons were called when they were going to start their service in the sanctuary. On the 8th day of life, the males of Israel were circumcised. On the 8th day, the impurity of some plagues were purified. The 8th day also speaks of a new weekly cycle after 7 days. With this, we can understand that a new cycle begins.
How interesting, Yossi. So what could be the understanding of the 8th day of convocation at the end of the biblical cycle and after 7 days of temporary cabins?
Sharon, as we have already learned on the days of Yom Teruah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot, these days tell us about the return of the Messiah, when he will return with a great sound of the Shofar, and that he will cover his chosen ones, and also that our cabins or bodies in this pilgrimage will be transformed into eternal dwellings. Let us remember that 7 is perfect, and we are called to live whole in these temporary dwellings, since when Yeshua returns, we will be similar to him. Then if all of those events of the holy appointments of autumn will occur on 8th day, that is, when Yeshua returns, then it tells us about the restart to a new stage. Day 8 represents the beginning of the eternal kingdom, and being the last convocation, then it speaks that all believers in Yeshua will be summoned to go to the kingdom of the eternal Father, a worldwide convocation, and of all generations since Adam and Eve.
I understand now, Yossi. The 8th day of convocation is a shadow of the great convocation that Yeshua will make the day he returns, to find us all the redeemed in the kingdom of his Father. That is why a new stage and eternity begins for us. It is an added time in the annual festive cycle that represents when our pilgrimage is going to end in order to start in the new creation.
That's right, Sharon. The letter to the Hebrews, chapter 12, verses 22 to 24 says, "You have come to Mount Zion, to the city of the living Elohim, the heavenly Jerusalem, to the company of many thousands of angels, to the congregation of the firstborn who are registered in heaven, to the Elohim, the judge of all, to the ministers of the righteous made perfect, to Yeshua the mediator of the new covenant. That is, for now through Yeshua we have come closer, but the day that Yeshua returns, he will make this great convocation in the dwellings of the eternal Father."
Of course, Yossi. I also remember that on Yom Teruah, we talked about Yeshua sending his angels to gather us and take us with him to the eternal Father, as it says in Matthew chapter 24, verse 31. "And Yeshua will send his angels with a loud shofar, and they will gather together his chosen from the 4 winds, from one end of heaven to the other." Yossi, it seems to me that it will be our last moment in this pilgrimage on this earth, to be taken by Yeshua with the eternal Father.
Yes, Sharon, that is a great hope of those of us who believe in Yeshua, that he will lift us up and change our mortal bodies 2 eternal lives. What do you think if we do an overview of the entire festive cycle to remember? The festive cycle.
The biblical festive cycle begins with spring, when the first fruit appear. The new moon is beneficial for agriculture. The new moon indicates that its light is increasing, just as every believer's faith begins and continues growing. The fruit glow, and if there is good land, the harvest will be big.
Pesach.
In Pesach, we learned that we have been made free from the system of the world that oppress and would not allow us to serve the eternal. Just as the Israelites were enslaved and were made free, though Moses, Yeshua has freed us, and he is our Passover lamb who brought us out of the Egypt of this world to serve the Father in obedience and holiness.
Matzot.
In Matzot, we learned that Yeshua washes us and removes the leaven so that we can be like unleavened bread, meaning believers without hypocrisy or lies. Yeshua was a leaven-free matzah, and his body was broken for us. We must live lives without leaven, without sin.
Bikurim.
In Bikurim, we learned that Yeshua was resurrected as the first of all fruits. That is why he is the first of the resurrection. He defeats death through his obedience, and therefore death cannot retain him. Already resurrected, Yeshua is delivered to the Father as a rock offering. Through his resurrection, we are also renewed or resurrected from a mundane life to a life of consecration. Therefore, we must be spikes with fruits.
Shavuot.
On Shavuot, we understand that after Yeshua returns to the Father, he, with his work of service and dedication, was going to make the Father fulfill his promise to send his holy breath to all believers. Yeshua has been like a sower who came to bring the good news of the kingdom closer. And when he leaves us, he does not leave us alone.
But the holy breath sent by the Father is like water from heaven that waters our land to bear much fruit. During this time for the nations, the Feast of the Weeks is the new grain among the land, which represents us, the people, and whoever is good land. They will bear much fruit for the eternal Father in this present age, and will then be harvested upon Yeshua's return, so they won't be burned as garbage on the day of punishment.
Yom Teruah.
Yom Teruah is the sound of the alarm with the shofar. Yeshua said that he will come with a great sound of the shofar, and he will send his angels to separate the chosen ones from among the world, to reunite us and thus take us to the eternal.
Yom HaKippurim.
On Yom HaKippurim, we learned that we fast with the Messiah by denying ourselves. Not eating represents not giving this body what the world offers, or denying our desires to the world, for which we live in fear, and we will be delivered from the judgment that is to come upon the whole world.
Sukkot.
In Sukkot, we learn that our pilgrimage must be perfect, that is, in plenitude with the Eternal Father, as Yeshua lived. Our body, that is a temporary tabernacle, must not aspire the things of this world. We must live without distractions of the world, temporarily, but with many fruits in our life, and wait to be clothed in eternal dwellings on the day of resurrection and transformation.
And finally, on the 8th day of Convocation, after the mystery is already known, the last day of Convocation is lived, waiting for it to happen. This day fills us with hope that one day eternal life will come in which there will be no sadness, there will be no war or death, there will be nothing bad but fullness in the dwellings of the Eternal Father.
Wow, you'll see how amazing everything that the Eternal Father has taught us in His holy appointments, and that Yeshua and His emissaries have revealed to us so that we can understand. I am very excited.
I think the same thing, Sharon. And that is why we are going to ask the little friends to create a guide of all the holy appointments, their elements and what they teach us, and to send and share it with Cielos Nuevos Niños. That way, they will remember each holy appointment, and they will also be even more prepared for the next festive cycle.
What a good idea, Yossi. I will also create my guide for all the festivities. And Yossi, even though we are ending a festive cycle and there are still a few more months before the next one, I am not sad because we have a holy appointment each week.
That is right, Sharon. The Eternal Father is good with all of us. His annual festive days pass very quickly. But yes, every Shabbat is also a holy appointment. That is why we rejoice in each Shabbat. We will continue learning, celebrating the Eternal, and enjoying the blessings He gives us. Closing of the series, Biblical Festivities.
Little friends, for now we say goodbye to this festive cycle that has been very edifying together with all of you. We have learned a lot. We have known your work and your dedication, but above all, your love, fidelity, and obedience to our Eternal Father. Hasak, Hasak, Talmudei of Yeshua.
And don't forget that we will continue learning with more deliveries of Cielos Nuevos Niños. We will be reviewing the parables of Yeshua, the instructions of the kingdom, my little manna every month, and other surprises.
Until next time, Talmudei of Yeshua. Activity, closing of the festive cycle. Little friends, we are concluding this festive cycle in obedience to the Eternal. We will elaborate a guide of the holy appointments: Pesach, Matzot, Bikurim, Shavuot, Yom Teruah, Yom HaKippurim, and Sukkot, each with their elements and what they teach us. We will leave a link where you will find a folder with different activities, like a poster board, a book, a scroll, and activity sheets to complete. Choose one, or if you prefer, complete them all. You will have plenty of fun and you will learn a lot. This way, we will be ready for the next festive cycle, with the favor of the Eternal, to meet with Him in holiness and with understanding.
Little friends, remember to visit the Cielos Nuevos y Tierra Nueva website in the section Niños at www.cielosnuevosytierranueva.org and download all of our free material. We have a WhatsApp and Telegram number, +52 33 28 24 91 85, where you can send us your photos and videos as you complete the activities of Sukkot and the whole festive cycle. Little friends, let's make a guide of all the holy appointments with its elements and what they teach us. That way, we can remember each holy appointment so we can be much better prepared for the next festive cycle. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Cielos Nuevos Niños. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, YouTube/Cielos Nuevos Niños. And let's continue learning about the Eternal Father's instruction.